So many of you already know that I spent 13 years in the Marine Corps, and during most of that time, I was actually in the infantry and in combat roles and combat instructor roles, reconnaissance roles, and things like that. But what many of you may not know is I actually spent just over a year as a counterintelligence specialist, where we spent a lot of time focusing on elicitation exercises and interrogation tactics. And let me talk to you about that for just 1 second. Now, when you're in an interrogation and you have a detainee, is what we call the prisoner, so-called, your job in order to get them to tell you the information that you want from them is to build for them what's known as a shit sandwich. So when you're in an environment as an interrogator where you're with a detainee in a room, your job is to take as long as you need to, even if it takes 8 hours, to build what's known as a shit sandwich around this person's framework of living. So what you're doing basically is explaining to them that no matter which way they turn, they're going to be totally screwed and there's going to be a really bad outcome. Specifically, if they choose not to work with us, the outcome is going to be absolutely terrible. And on the other hand, their family is going to be affected, their lives will be affected. So many things will be affected if they choose not to work with us. So we'll spend as much time as we have to kind of build this scenario in their head and this environment in their head that makes them feel like there's really no escape and they're totally trapped. But let me tell you why it's called a shit sandwich. Because in the middle of this sandwich of bad outcomes is the detainee themselves. That's the idea you want to give them, so that they feel like they literally are left without any options. No matter which way they turn, their life's going to be totally screwed and they have no way out of this except one single way. The only preferable or manageable outcome that might lead to them having a life of normalcy again and escaping the situation they're in and going back to their family and having a good life again is if they will work with us and work through us to escape and to be released from the bondage that they're currently stuck in. Now tell me, in this scenario, when the detainee finally chooses to work with the interrogator and give them information, and then that detainee is released from the detainment that they were in, they may actually feel like you, the interrogator, did them a favor, like you were their savior even. Of course, we give them that impression, we build that idea into their heads so that they feel like that's all they have to go with is you as their savior to get them out of this mess. Christianity is much the same way in terms of how this works. It's not only a fear-based mind control system, which I believe it strongly is, but it's also an existential comfort system that gives people an easy out to feel good about the outcome of their ponderings in their life. If they choose not to work with Jesus, they're in the shit sandwich no matter which way they go. But if they choose to cooperate with the scriptures of the Christian literature, then they'll be saved. Then they'll have comfort. You are their savior.